Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Parisa and here is Parisa. I'm a PhD student in astronomy at Queen's University, and today in this special episode I have a special guest, Elham. Thank you for coming. In these series of episodes I want to invite some people to talk about their journey along their PhD graduate school, or like their stories about their research, what are they doing and what is it and why they are interesting. So thank you, Elham, for joining me today. So if you don't mind, I would ask you to introduce yourself a little bit.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm happy that I'm here, and thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
My name is Elham. I'm a PhD student at Queen's University. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and my main focus is neurorehabilitation. I try to make some solutions for people with disabilities.
So can you tell me what makes you to choose that field of research? Like, do you have any personal motivation behind that research? And tell us more about your story.
Actually, I myself, I'm living with a kind of disability. I live with cerebral palsy, which is a kind of brain lesion that causes some movement disorders. I walk with a limp, and sometimes I have muscle contractions and muscle spasms that makes some things sometimes harder and more difficult for me to deal with some daily activities. And the most part is walking. And so, I have lots of friends who are living with disabilities, and all of these things together make my motivation to work more on this concept, and I know that how important it is.
Oh, that's so fascinating. Like, I'm very impressed. And then the first time that I know that, like, actually you work on the same field that is like your
concern.
Your concern, and that's like very motivating. Like, it's very motivational.
Yes.
And yes, I was wondering, like, if you don't mind, I would just like wanted to go back to like tell me how's like to be a girl in STEM with a disability at the beginning, before going to like, you know, deep down in your research and what you're doing. But it was like, what was it like for you to doing your graduate school, or even like before that, like, you know, dealing with the disabilities and just doing your school, and then you just, you know, choose to be a researcher. So if you comment on that would be great.
Actually, as you yourself know completely, there are lots of problems to continue in STEM society as a girl, as a woman, and there are lots of problems. There are lots of discriminations against women in science society, and you know, there are lots of lack of knowledge and lack of awareness in other people to count on women as a scientist. The condition and this old situation became worsen when you are a woman with disability, and all this condition will be harder and more difficult.
Yeah, you're a woman, and on top of that you have a disability, and I'm like, well, I have like the best of the best. So
actually you should talk about people, and you should make people who are more aware than others to help you, to support you, and convince people that you can.
Yeah, that is like actually like the most challenging thing. I mean, Elham is also like an international student, and we're both Iranian, so we're both like very aware of like the situation was especially in Iran, which is like a little bit like more patriarchal society. Like, even for me, like as Elham says, like you're a woman, and then for you, like on top of that, you're like having a disability, and that is like, you know, make everything much more complicated. But for me, even like, you know, as a person who does not have a disability, I just ended up dealing with a lot of challenges on my day-to-day based life. And then the journey was not about like, you know, being happy with the science and physics only, but I was just like facing with like, oh, convincing people, did I belong here? I want to do this, and please let me to be. Because, for example, I remember, as I told you before, I was going in the observatory all the time, and then people kicked me out of that because it was not allowed for girls to be in the observatory at night. And I don't know how was like they thinking about themselves, and I'm like, we cannot do anything in the morning in the observatory. And then they just like, you know, I was like constantly getting hidden in like the storage in the bathroom, and that was like, you know, another level of consistency and passion that you need to like, I need to make it clear for everybody that I want to be here.
Yeah, you know, if I wanted to explain more and clarify more the situation, there are lots of obstacles that can be seen. For example, the buildings that are not accessible. There are lots of terrible steps and stairs that you can't use them when you are with a kind of movement disability. And in addition, there are lots of obstacles that can't be seen. For example, the lack of awareness of people about disability, and they don't know that how they can deal with. And the social awareness is one of the biggest problems that I have, especially in my country. And when I came to Canada, I figured out that, wow, situation can be much more better when the children at the school are trained how to treat with people that are different in many ways, that they have kind of disability, they live in different bodies, they live with different sexual tendencies and so on. And yeah, there are lots of obstacles for a person with disability to continue to live a base activities.
Exactly. No, I do agree with you. Like for me, even if I just like counted myself as like an open-minded person that I'm willing to learn, but I figured out that like, oh, when I just moved to Canada for my graduate school, like, and there's a lot of obstacle everywhere, right? Like here, we still need to improve much better. However, it's like better than the other countries like Iran that we came from. So I'm just like also like, it's important to also for us as a new international student who had a different country to educate ourselves. So sometimes I see people coming from more closed countries and they still like, you know, not open themselves to the differences or like to the diversity of the people that they're working with, and they still stay the same people as they used to be. So I'm saying like, if you have the opportunity to just go and then work with the other people of minorities, it can be LGBTQ community, it can be people with disabilities, it can be people with the different colors or any kind of minorities or different religion that like you used to it. Be careful of like educate yourself. If you're not open by default, just educate yourself, read about that, just open your eyes
and be respectful about the differences that all people have, and about their personal lives, and about their concerns. You know, everybody has their single story, and their, you know, that the story come from their background, and their story come from the things that they believe, the things that they live. And you know, you should be respectful about all these aspects of everybody's life.
Exactly. So what I'm like always insisting on it, just like instead of assuming stuff, ask. Ask, but like asking is also can be challenging, because if you asking with the like with the background of assumption that you know the question, that makes a really big difference of asking out of curiosity or asking out of really that you want to know. Like asking with the open-minded mindset, it really makes a different change. And I think it's a very fundamental basic steps that you can literally do to improve and then make everything more, you know, accessible, more pleasing, because you know, the workplace is not always about, oh, get the works done. It's just like, if you feel more comfortable, if you feel more welcome, if you feel more belong, then it makes you
more creative.
Exactly.
More productive. Actually.
Exactly. That's about it. So yeah, no, it's very impressive that like you because like for some person like me, not dealing with these kind of challenges in my day-to-day basis, for me, I cannot imagine how a life can be with any kind of like disability and then to deal with that. So I was wondering like, what makes you actually to immigrate to another country by yourself alone? Like, I don't know, tell me about like the pros and cons of it, the disadvantage and advantage of that. And like, you know, like what makes you think that you can do it?
Okay. When I find myself as a woman with disability, I mean, these two important things. I'm a woman. I have a disability. These two important things was some key points in my life that building my characteristics and building the things that the person that who I am, you know.
Yeah.
After that, I accept some problems, I accept some issues that was in my life, and I try to solve them. At first, for example, by talking to other people, and then by expressing myself to other people, and talk with some people that who in charge of some responsibilities, some important responsibilities. And after that, I figured out that I myself should do something. I myself should design some solutions for my own problem. That time, I thought that if every single one of us can solve our own concerns and problems, okay, the world won't have any problem.
Yeah.
You know, all of us have lots of problems. If every one of us try to solve our personal problems, okay, so the world would be a very great place to
Yeah,
live.
no, I do agree with you. Like taking a responsibility of our own life
Yes.
is the first step
Yeah.
that can help you. It doesn't mean like we always have the opportunity to solve everything.
Yes.
Sometimes we deal with a lot of barriers. It can be social, it can be
Yes.
a lot physical. You need some facilities, you need some other
Supports.
yeah, exactly, like external help
Yeah.
to deal with that. But like be aware of like, oh, this is your life, this is what I have, this is the limitation, this is my strength, and I'm taking responsibility of my own life. I think that's like a very first step.
And before that, I had lots of engineering knowledge based on my background, education. And I had lots of social knowledge that was based on my studies and my concerns. And I thought that I can use all of them with the goal of make life better for people with disability, and especially with for people with cerebral palsy, with CP. And when I choose this goal, I had much more motivation to be a better engineer, to broaden much more, to broaden my knowledge of social concerns more than before. And yeah, I'm now more active than before that I didn't have this goal. And so yeah, it's now the first goal that I have in my life.
No, I think it's an amazing story, like, and a background motivation. Like, oh, actually, I have like some challenges, and I'm like, you know, dedicated my academic journey to that, and I'm gonna go for it. And I'm like, oh my god, I love it. That's why and I'm like, I definitely need to, like, you know, bring Elham like on that to talk about it for the very first episode, which I'm lucky. But yeah, tell me more about your research, especially right now at Queen's University. Tell me more about like what is the main question in your research field, and actually why does that matter, and how it can improve someone else's life. Tell me more about it. I don't know, like, you know.
Now I'm working in BDAT lab. That it is a lab for building and designing assistive technologies for people with disabilities. And all the members in this lab try to design some assistive and rehabilitation technologies that can improve the quality of life of people with disabilities. So the main concern that we have is dealing with disability and the probable problems that may bring for a person that is living with that situation.
Sorry, one question. Is it like all disabilities, or no, you're targeting a specific type of disability?
About all disabilities. There are, for example, some people that are concerning with communication issues of people who have communication problems. You know, they try to, for example, to encode their emotions because they have, it is challenging for some of people to express their emotions, for example. About my research in BDAT lab, I want to firstly explain a little bit about cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is a condition that, because of a brain lesion, that this brain lesion is occurred in developing phase of brain when you're very, very child or person. and this lesion, based on the location and severity of this lesion, the limitations will be occur. For example, it can be movement limitations, it can be speech limitations, and it can be cognitive disorders. And this is based on the, based on the place and severity of the injury of brain. And so you should know a lot about brain and neuroscience, and try to use this neuroscience knowledge in rehabilitation. So this special field is named neurorehabilitation, that you delve into neuroscientific concepts to make some rehabilitation, to design some rehabilitation sessions or rehabilitation strategies that make people to deal with that brain disorders.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. So, is the type of injury in the brain the same, but it just targets different area in the brain, or no, it just every single disability has a different and unique type of injury in the brain?
Yes. It is said that none of people with CP has the same condition, because the lesion and injury in brain is so unique, and the place that the lesion is occurred, and the severity of that, and the amount of this lesion is so personalized.
Okay, so my question is like that. These kind of disabilities are anything to do with the I don't know, something when the mom is pregnant, or no, it happens after the birth was given, or is it a kind of thing that you can control when the kids are just born, or like, I don't know, help them with something that it cannot develop that disabilities in much more an advanced level, or no, it's just like very genetic, and one that I don't know, when that impairment happened, then it cannot be anything to do it, and then the child should leave forever with that. So
CP is occurred when the brain is in its developing phase, actually. So it means that when the mother is pregnant, the probability of occurring CP, we have this probability. And for example, something like infection of mother can increase this probability. And the way that the mother is giving birth to her child actually affect that how much this procedure is safe and secure for the child, that any strike to brain and the head of child is prevented by the doctors and by the specialists that are helping mother to giving birth to the child. And after that, in the very, very young age of the children, that still we have some developing in brain, this probability again still exists. That, for example, because of as any a strike can bring cerebral palsy. Yeah. And actually, cerebral palsy can be considered as brain stroke in very, very early age.
So my question is also about is the impairment can be diagnosed when the mom is pregnant, or no? You never know until the child is born.
It depends on the situation, and for example, and the background illness of mother sometimes can be understood, and sometimes can't be seen and can't be diagnosed.
Because if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that the way that the mom is giving birth to a child also matters a lot. So I'm just curious that if it can be diagnosed before the birth of the kid, so it can be like
actually sometimes sometimes child is completely healthy in the bodies of mother, but the procedure of giving birth to child may be affect cerebral palsy. And about the second part of your question, that was about the progression of CP. Actually, the best age for rehabilitation and treatment of cerebral palsy is in younger age of children, because the learning ability, the ability of brain for learning is much more than other age, and the neuroplasticity of brain is, it can be in the highest amount of that when you are child. So you can be have the best and most positive effects when you're a child with CP, and you can decrease the symptoms of movement disorders when you are when you are in the very early age. But it cannot be stopped, and you can continue your occupational therapy sessions or physiotherapy sessions, and continue this procedure until you can see the progression. Fortunately, CP is not a progressive disorder, and the brain injury is permanent, but other brain sections can become in charge of that specific responsibility, and for example be trained, for example, to moving better or walking better. And this can be done by professional occupational therapists or physiotherapists.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one of the most ideal, very far future question. I don't know. Because it's a damage on a brain, because I have no clue what's like happening in the neuroscience, and I'm not expert in that at all. I'm wondering if there's any kind of brain surgery, or like in the field of research, are there people talking about some specific brain surgeries, or I don't know, that can happen in the far future, like in a very early stage of
very far future.
yeah, like research. Is there something that people concern, or like, I don't know, in the field of research of neuroscience, that is a kind of surgery can happen to the brain that can improve it or solve that? Because or no, there is some specific neurons which are, I don't know, they're dead, or like they're gone, or I don't know, the injured are like so deep. Like, for example, I don't know, a question will be like, if I lose my hand, then okay, but I can just, I don't know, maybe
we are a kind of exoskeleton instead of your hand.
Exactly. Yeah. So is it can be something in the field of research, the question is going on?
Yeah, actually there are some there are some unsolved questions in the field of brain surgery that they are trying to find out some ways and some strategies for some surgical plans that can be used for cerebral palsy, but still we don't have any solution as a kind of surgery that can help people with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, no, I guess
because this is a palsy,
yeah.
And it cannot be treated still now with a kind of surgery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I guess that it's going to be a very, very complicated surgery, because you cannot, that's what I think I heard, that you cannot operation a brain surgery unconscious. Like, you have to like keep,
yes.
like keep the person conscious, and then check every single thing, that like by accident, like, okay, I'm just gonna I don't know, repair something, and then like just damage some other part, which is like undoable, and that's gonna be bad. Yeah, but no, it's very interesting. So what are we now in the research? Like, how can we improve people's life with the exoskeleton, or I don't know, any kind of do we have any improved facilities or robotics, or I don't know, in the field of research that can help these people? Or
actually the most common
and
the most proven treatment for people with cerebral palsy is working out, exercises, and just being active, and try to use your limbs for your daily lives. That in this way, brain can be treated to move your body easier and simpler than before, and find some neuronal ways to move your limbs easier than before. This is my personal experience, that when I have a kind of intensive workout program, after, for example, some months, I can do that specific work better, and with less effort and less energy. But there are lots of other ways, such as stimulating brain, or kind of occupational therapies, or some complementary treatments. Yeah, that are being studied, all of them, and the effect of these treatments are studied on cerebral palsy.
Okay, can you tell me more about like your personal intense workouts? Like what is like the diversity of it? Like how do you do it?
Yes.
And then how many times per week you need to do it? How many of them it's mandatory? How many is that like it's optional? Or do you do some extra just for your own, I don't know, satisfaction, or I don't know, you're passionate about workout, or no, you just like stay with what is mandatory for your body?
Yeah. Actually, I love working out. Yeah, this is the things that I love watching the sports. Yeah, and in addition, it's kind of mandatory because of my muscle spasms and the condition of my body that I should do some exercises every day. Every day I have about 90 minutes, some fitness exercises, and once in a week I try to go to swimming if I can, and twice a week, that are actually in the weekends, I have 3 hours working out that I go to gyms especially, and for example work with the weights and work with the equipments that are there. And there are actually some kind of fitness that for example, I set some goals, for example, having 6 packs or
that's really cool. And I'm like, yes, like everybody, you know, paying attention to their body shape or whatever. Of course, like everybody, like, you know, have a standard. Like, I want to do this. Yeah, I just started running like from last year, so I finished my very first 5K. So I'm like, yeah, I need to lose, like, for example, that many pounds, or like, because I don't know, I need the, you know, that ideal shape of my body.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So is there any like cardio you can do, or like you do, or no, it's just like most like weightlifting, or I don't know, mostly like just muscle workouts?
No, I work mostly on my muscles because of my muscle spasms and my personal passion about having muscles.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I get it. So what is your favorite sport? Like, do you have any sport that you love, or like
I love water sports. Yeah,
that's really cool. Have you ever like considered, like, you know, I don't know, doing exercise like more intense or more serious way, or not? You were not just like or interested in like as a side? Like that is a very personal question. I'm just like, have you ever like considered that or not?
The seriousness of a sport can be defined based on the people's ability. You know, for example, 2 years ago, it was hard for me to walk 100 meters. It was hard for me. But now I extend this range to 1,050 meters, about 1 kilometer and 2 kilometers.
Well, that's
that's so a kind of progress.
Yeah, oh, it is. It's an amazing progress. So, like, and how long did you progress like that improvement?
I think in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, but
wow, I'm so proud.
No, it's just because in Iran I had my own vehicle, unfortunately.
That makes you lazy.
Yeah. And this is my one of the benefits of having no car, no private vehicle, and just communicate with bus and public transit. In Kingston, that it is a small town, and if you lose the bus and miss the bus, you should walk toward university.
Even me, and I'm like, I cannot do that. If I just like lose the bus, and I'm like, I either Uber, or because I mean, it depends on the timing. For example, it's late at night, you want to just like go home, and then you lost the bus.
And
in
sometimes
5 minutes,
that I want to, for example, do some financial benefits, financially beneficial work. I walk some away, and then I order Uber.
Yeah, no, also like that's it, because sometimes it's just like so expensive, and as a PhD student, whoever does a PhD anywhere in the world like knows that we are poor. So yeah, Yeah, actually, like I get it, absolutely. So for the last section of our talk, I just wanted to ask you more question about the PhD journey, like specifically, like how does that journey looks like for you, and like what is the advantages, what is the disadvantages, what you like about doing PhD and what you do not like about it, and then willing to improve this. So if you can, if you have any idea.
Actually, for me, as a person that I'm into science, PhD journey had lots of advantages. I do love pursuing my ideas and having my own ideas and work on my scientific questions and designing research questions and start researching about them. And so yeah, I do love this kind of life, and I do love this lifestyle. And fortunately, I have a very, very great and wonderful supervisor that we have lots in common in social concerns, and I learned a lot from her, not only about some scientific topics, but also about being a better person.
Yeah, no, that is very important. I'm just telling everybody that if you're willing to pursue PhD or any graduate school, your supervisor is the main and like the first and last person to go to. So if you have a good supervisor, that makes your life, oh my God, that makes this journey so pleasing. And if you have a terrible mentor supervisor, that literally can make your life as a hell. So literally, if I always like say that, like it's better to do your graduate school in a smaller university with the better supervisor rather than to go choose those big schools, like, I don't know, the best, I don't know, more like, more famous or known ones, but like have a terrible supervisor. Honestly, like believe us, like that makes a huge change.
Yeah, it was my chance that my supervisor is highly supportive, and she's so productive. I learned from her to be more, to have more discipline in my life, and to have a work-life balance. Yeah, and
yeah, that is also another thing, like a work-life balance and a PhD journey, because like this is your whole life.
Yes.
And then like actually differentiate between the boundaries of your work time and then your personal life is like sometimes it's invisible. For a 9-to-5 job, you just go to work and come back home and then you're done. But with your PhD journey, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going home and then I'm gonna grab a tea and then still like in behind my screen computer. I'm like, that never ends. Like this is your not even full-time job, it is like 24/7 life.
Yeah, actually you're right. But if I want to talk more about the disadvantage of PhD life that you mentioned before, is the financial problems. We just are living with the funding of university, and the it's as we talked before, is less than a person who is working in McDonald's.
Yeah.
But for us that we had lots of scientific background and we are working in a specialist fields, it's not fair.
It's not fair at all. And I'm like, we're not a worker, we are a researcher. And if you were like, Zima like said, like if you're working in McDonald's, like have a general job, I would have like earned more. And that just like makes a huge thing, because people like actually do not realize that how dealing with the financial issue, like budget stuff, and along your PhD journey, it's a huge like concern of this PhD students in general. Like that is what we are like really.
And actually, when you're living with a kind of disability and you have additional costs that it is related to your special conditions, for example, I Ubering more than other people normally. And for example, I had my working out sessions that should be supervised by some special person, some professional person, it's better to say, and so they're just payment. I should pay for all of them.
No, thank you for mentioning that, because I was just like not really mindful about, oh yeah, that's right, like people like Uber more, or like they need a medication, or they need I don't know, special facilities to do their workout, like maybe it's just you need to have some, I don't know, extra stuff to be able to operate your normal life.
Actually Canada is better than my country.
Yeah,
honestly.
exactly. No,
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's not the kind place that I assumed before. There is no extra financial support for students with disability. I assumed before that, for example, there is a kind of discount for tuition fees, or for example, there can be some supports for buying groceries or for housing. None of them uh, are for students with disabilities, and I know that there are lots of problems for them. They should think about many other factors that other students uh, don't have. And
but that shocks me, honestly, because I think that is how inefficient the system is to
yes,
treat someone with a disability the same funding package, the same situation
yeah,
as a normal person. Like, honestly, like that is where equity comes from.
mhm,
Like, we're all like talk about equality, like,
yes,
yeah, but like the equality is not a case anymore. Like, we're not talking about it. We need to adjust our system, our funding. It can be like from funding package to the courses to whatever, to design, like, and it means like how many deep works we need to basically to change the infrastructure of the courses, the classes, the university. And how broken is that? It actually like shocks me. Like, even we say like, okay, it's better than our country, but it doesn't mean like we're living in utopia, or like,
yeah.
we're living in an ideal world. There's a lot to need to be improved.
For example, assume that you are the mother of a family and you have some children, and you decide to go hiking for kind of uh, the weekend program. And so yeah, and sometimes you have a little girl that it is 3 years old. Sometimes you hug her because she needs to be hugged in some portion of way, because it is difficult to walk uh, with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And the society should be supportive for all minorities.
Yeah.
And some people should be supported. All the people in society should be supported in different ways. And for example, some people need mental support, some people need financial support, some people need physical support, but unfortunately, I didn't find this supports and assistive actions and in Queen's University,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
no, I mean, that's a very fair question, because like before that, like we said, like we're working hard to, like, to improve our self-awareness of
Yes.
like other people's like situation, like as we like did right now. And I'm so grateful, like from you, like Elham, thank you so much for like talking about that, like how important it is that like we having a friends from other spectrum of minorities.
Yeah.
Like, that is really important in the society, that for example, me, like as a person not dealing with the disabilities, have a friend with the disabilities, or have another person from another country, or
Yeah.
from another language, or and that help us in our
And make
individual
the
life.
connections, yeah,
Exactly.
and try to learn more about people, trying to learn more about lifestyles. Actually, it helps to be a better person, to be a more deeper person.
Yeah, no, actually, that's what I mean. Like, if the head of a universities, or a head of a country, or presidents, or like leaders of the world, they had this personal connection to
Yes.
the minorities, to the society, they had a family or friends
Yeah.
dealing with that. I'm not saying we would have like solved all the problems in the world, but like that could have improved and then increased our and like empathy
Yes.
with others. Are like, yeah, I see that, or like my friends or my family or like my relatives dealing with that, and I see that, and I'm friend with them. So that like put it in the background of your mindset that I'm also including these people when I'm designing a program, or I don't know, or any kind of social services to people. I'm considering these people also as it. But I'm also like, the very last question after that we wrap it up, I want to wonder, like, what can it be done right now at that moment in a like larger scale, that like that is your immediate, not you and your peers, like the people like you, that needs an immediate needs, which you wished that you had at Queen's University specifically, or like for example in Canada or society. Do you have something major?
Yes, I think one of the most important issues that must be considered at Queen's University is about housing issues. that is awful, is terrible in Kingston. And when you're dealing with kind of physical limitations, the situation worsen actually. And so the people who are in charge of this kind of responsibilities should be aware of how painful it is for a person with physical limitations and physical problems to be homeless.
Yeah.
You know,
Honestly,
that
yeah.
you don't have any housing plans, that you know, in addition to lots of extra costs and payments that we have, we should think about having some good and affordable housing, and yeah, I think that the people who are in charge of housing responsibilities at Queen's University should take this matter into consideration and help these minorities more.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for mentioning. So I think at this point we're like wrap it up now. Thank you for sharing your personal stories.
It was my pleasure. Thank you
And
for having me.
of course, and I think that's like I just like genuinely seeing values and like sharing each other's stories. Like you have your specific unique stories, I do mine, and some other people also. And it's how much it is important to hear each other's stories.
Yes.
And it can be so inspiring for someone who's looking at this video at their like earliest stage of like their life and considering doing PhD or not, or anyone like they just like said, oh no, either I am in their shoes and I see myself that picture to pursue my career further, or no, like I'm a person who do not resonate with that person, but I can be open-minded and have some friends and be more open to this, to the social events, to the society, to the minorities, and that makes a better world.
Yes. As my last sentence, I would like to say that sometimes it's very hard, but we should not stop doing the work because it is hard.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to us. And then, yeah, ciao.